When did you realize your clinic was deliberately hiding a medical emergency? The triage nurse wouldn't look at my leg while the clinic kept calling to remind me about my unpaid balance of $89. I sat in the emergency room at Riverside General, Tuesday night, 11:47 p.m., according to the clock above the desk. My left leg throbbed under the gauze I'd wrapped around it myself. The black patch had spread another inch since dinner. Red streaks ran halfway up my thigh like poison racing toward my heart. My phone buzzed again. Quick Care Surgical Center. Another automated reminder about the $89 I owed for the mole removal 3 days ago. The mole removal that was turning my leg black. Mommy, when can we go home? Tyler asked from the plastic chair next to me. 6 years old, still in his dinosaur pajamas. I'd pulled him straight from bed. Soon, baby. My teeth chattered even though I was sweating through my shirt. The thermometer at home said 102.3. That was 2 hours ago. Mia looked up from her phone where she'd been playing videos for Tyler, 12 years old and trying so hard to be brave. Mom, that lady's been here longer than us and she already got called. The woman with the broken wrist. She'd arrived 20 minutes after us. I stood up, gripping the armrest when the room tilted. Made it 3 steps toward the desk before the triage nurse finally glanced up. Ma'am, I told you. We'll call you when... Her eyes landed on my leg where the gauze had soaked through. The drainage wasn't red anymore. It was dark brown, almost black. How long has it been black? Since this morning, the clinic said, never mind what they said. She was already reaching for a wheelchair. Dr. Rita Patel cut through the gauze 40 minutes later while I tried not to scream. The smell hit us both at the same time, sweet and rotten, like fruit left in the sun too long. This is necrotizing fasciitis, she said, already pulling out her phone to take photos. We need surgery within hours. Surgery? My voice cracked. The clinic said drainage was normal. They said, tell me exactly what they said. Dr. Patel kept taking pictures from different angles. Sunday, the day after the procedure, I called because the pain was so bad. The receptionist said, take ibuprofen, said post-op pain was expected. She nodded, still photographing. Monday, I drove there. Waited 2 hours in their lobby with Tyler crying because I couldn't pick him up. My leg hurt too much. The nurse finally looked at it for maybe 5 seconds, said some drainage is expected, gave me more gauze. And today? I called 3 times this morning. No call back until 4 p.m. The nurse, Patricia, she said if I was concerned I could go to the ER, but I started crying. She said insurance might not cover it if it's not an emergency. I'm freelance. My insurance is already... This is an emergency. Dr. Patel set down her phone. This infection is eating through tissue. Another 12 hours and you'd lose the leg. Maybe worse. Worse? She didn't answer. Didn't need to. I've seen infections from that clinic before, she said quietly. Not this bad, though. Quick Care? You've seen... Document everything. Take photos of everything. Keep every paper, every receipt, every text. I don't have good insurance. The ER visit alone. I can't afford... Worry about living first. She squeezed my hand. We need to get you to surgery now. The surgical team arrived with a gurney. Mia stood up so fast she dropped her phone. Where are you taking her? Surgery, sweetie, Dr. Patel said gently. Your mom needs... Mom, are you going to die? The question hung in the air while they lifted me onto the gurney. Tyler started crying, not understanding but sensing his sister's fear. I reached for their hands even as the nurse was hooking up IV lines. I'm going to be fine, I lied. The black streaks had climbed another inch since we'd arrived. Stay with the nurse. I'll see you soon. You said that when you went for the mole thing. Mia's voice broke. You said it was nothing. They wheeled me toward the operating room doors. The last thing I saw was my kids standing in that fluorescent hallway, Mia holding Tyler's hand, both in their pajamas because I'd been too scared to waste time letting them change. The anesthesia mask came down over my face. Count backward from 10, someone said. 10. The clinic had told me to wait. 9. Told me drainage was normal. 8. Told me I was overreacting. 7. My kids were alone in the waiting room. 6. $89. 5. 4. 3 days out of surgery, I sat at my kitchen table with a drainage tube running from my leg into a bag I had to empty every 4 hours. James came over during his lunch break, still in his scrubs from the medical billing office where he worked. He set down a sandwich he wouldn't have time to eat and pulled out his laptop. Okay, call Quick Care. Put it on speaker. I dialed the number I now knew by heart. The hold music played for 12 minutes before someone picked up. Quick Care Surgical Center, how can I help you? Hi, this is Cheryl Chen. I need my medical records from a procedure on October 15th. Medical records requests take 30 business days to process. 30 business days? But I need them now for insurance. They're denying coverage because... You can expedite for $75. That brings it down to 10 business days. James shook his head. I'd Googled one-party consent laws that morning. California allowed recording. My phone was already capturing everything. I'm in the hospital with necrotizing fasciitis from your clinic. I need those records. I'm sorry to hear that, ma'am. The processing time is still 30 days. Would you like to pay for expedited service? Can I pick them up in person? Records must be processed through proper channels. After I hung up, James grabbed his keys. We're going there. The Quick Care waiting room was packed. A woman in the corner held her bandaged hand against her chest. Yellow drainage had soaked through the gauze. She'd been there when we walked in an hour ago. How long have you been waiting? I asked her. 3 hours. Had a cyst removed here last week. She lowered her voice. It's infected, but they keep saying the doctor's busy. James went back to the desk. We need to speak with Dr. Hoffman about my sister's records. Dr. Hoffman is with patients. We'll wait. 2 hours passed. Then 3. My drainage bag needed emptying, but the bathroom was for staff only. Patients had to go to the McDonald's next door. I couldn't walk that far. Finally, Dr. Hoffman appeared in the doorway, tall, silver-haired, wearing a white coat with his name embroidered in blue. Miss Chen, I heard you were here. I need my medical records. I have necrotizing... Infections can happen anywhere, Ms. Chen. Even at the best hospitals, it's a known surgical risk. But you told me to wait. You said the drainage was... I said you could go to the ER if you were concerned. You made the choice to wait. That's not what happened. On Monday, your nurse barely looked. Submit your records request through proper channels. He turned to go. I almost lost my leg. He paused but didn't turn around. Infections are unfortunate, but they happen. If you have concerns about your care, speak to our patient advocate. You don't have a patient advocate. Then I suggest you find a lawyer. He walked back through the door marked staff only. James helped me stand. My leg throbbed. The drainage bag was too full, pulling at the insertion site. In the parking lot, an older woman approached us, maybe 70, walking with a cane. Excuse me, I heard you asking about records in there. I nodded, too tired to speak. Same thing happened to me last year. Infection after they removed a skin tag. Almost lost 3 toes. She leaned closer. They kept my records for 89 days. By then, all the evidence was gone. Photos on my phone got corrupted somehow. The papers I'd saved got lost in a flood that only hit my garage. 89 days? Legal maximum is 30. But if there's a processing error or system update, they can take longer. Document everything yourself. Don't trust them with anything. She limped away before I could ask her name. That night, the envelope from Blue Shield arrived looking like every other piece of mail until I opened it. Claim denied. The words blurred as I read them again. Quick Care had coded my procedure as elective cosmetic mole removal, not the suspicious lesion Dr. Hoffman had called it when he recommended immediate removal. The hospital bills were stacking up on my kitchen counter. ER visit, $4,700 copay. Surgery, $12,000. Insurance pending. Infectious disease specialist, $3,200. The total was climbing toward $31,000 for saving my leg, for not dying. I called Blue Shield the next morning, 2 hours on hold. My phone battery died once. I called back. The coding shows cosmetic, the representative said. Cosmetic procedures require pre-authorization. It wasn't cosmetic. The mole was irregular. The edges were... According to the provider notes, it was coded as cosmetic removal. Can you check if they do this with other claims? I can only discuss your specific claim, ma'am. James came over that evening with his laptop and a pile of papers from work. I looked into Quick Care's billing patterns. Every single mole removal in the past 2 years, all coded as cosmetic. All of them, everyone. Cosmetic procedures don't require reporting to oversight boards. No follow-up required, no safety protocols. My phone rang. Another client canceling. That made 3 since the news interview. Too much going on in your personal life, they said. Need someone more reliable. $4,200 in monthly income. Gone. Mom? Mia stood in the doorway. Are we going to be evicted? No, baby. We're fine. Lily's mom got evicted last year. She said it started with medical bills. Tyler hadn't left my side since the surgery, wouldn't go to the hospital for his flu shot. Screamed when the school nurse tried to check his temperature. 6 years old and terrified of anyone in scrubs. That night, I filed a complaint with the state medical board. Their website looked like it hadn't been updated since 2003. Upload limits of 2 megabytes per document. My surgical photos were 5 megabytes each. The auto response came immediately. Thank you for your submission. Current processing time is 6 to 8 months. You will receive a case number within 10 to 12 weeks. I called the health department next morning. Individual complaints go through the medical board, the woman said. But this is about public safety. Multiple people. Individual complaints go through the medical board. Channel 7. News was my next try. The producer sounded bored. Single patient story isn't really news. Call back if more people come forward. I posted in the Riverside Community Facebook group that night, added 3 photos from the hospital. The black tissue, the drainage bag, the surgical site. Quick Care Surgical Center nearly killed me. Anyone else have problems there? The post was removed within an hour. Violated community standards. Unverified medical claims. I posted again without photos. Just asked if anyone had experiences with Quick Care. 47 reactions, 12 comments. 3 people said they'd had infections too. Private messaged me. Scared to comment publicly. Didn't want trouble. Couldn't afford lawyers. The certified letter arrived Thursday. MedManage incorporated the parent company that owned Quick Care and 14 other clinics across California. Cease and desist all defamatory statements regarding Quick Care Surgical Center and Dr. Marcus Hoffman. Continued false claims will result in legal action for defamation, libel, and intentional interference with business relations. They'd attached screenshots of my Facebook posts, even the deleted one. I was editing my freelance portfolio that night, trying to look stable for potential clients, when a Facebook message popped up. Angela Morrison. Profile photo was just a sunset. No personal information visible. I worked at Quick Care until 3 months ago. I can't say much. Signed an NDA. But check the state inspection records from 2019. Public record. Nobody ever looks. I typed back, can you tell me anything else? The typing bubbles appeared and disappeared 3 times. Just look at the inspection records and check the lot numbers on any supplies they gave you, if you still have them. Angela, people are getting hurt. I have 2 kids. I need my job. I'm sorry. The green dot next to her name went gray. She'd gone offline. I sat there staring at the message, state inspection records, lot numbers, an NDA that kept a nurse from warning patients. My leg throbbed under the bandages. The drainage had stopped, but the pain never did. Tyler called from his room. Another nightmare about hospitals. The next morning, I drove to the public library with Tyler clinging to my good leg. The state inspection records were buried in a database that looked older than MySpace. I searched Quick Care Surgical Center 2019 and got one result. Minor violations noted and corrected. Facility remains in good standing. The actual violations, redacted. The inspector's notes, redacted. Everything useful hidden behind black bars. I created the Instagram account sitting right there in the library, at Quick Care Survivor, not victims. That sounded too dramatic, too much like asking for pity. First post was my leg. Day 1 versus day 14. Black tissue next to pink healing skin. The caption just said, Quick Care Surgical Center, October 15th, 2024. 13 likes in the first hour. My cousin, James, a few friends. I posted every day. Photos of medical bills, insurance denial letters, the drainage bag I still had to wear. By week 2, I had 73 followers. Half were bots selling CBD oil. The other half were family and people who knew me from freelance work. Then Angela messaged again. Can't talk about specifics. I signed an NDA, but look up expired lot numbers on supplies. How do I do that? Your surgical supply packaging, if they gave it to you. I hadn't thrown away the discharge bag. It was still under my bathroom sink with all the gauze they'd sent home. I dug through it until I found the wrapper from the original surgical gauze. Lot number 7739B. Expiration date, September 1st, 2024. My procedure was October 15th, 6 weeks expired. I posted the photo with the lot number circled. Within 2 hours, I had 200 real followers. My DMs exploded. Same thing happened to me. My infection lasted 3 months. They used expired supplies on my mom too. But when I asked if they'd go on record, half wouldn't give their real names. A quarter stopped responding completely. 3 said they'd think about it. 1 was in the middle of her own lawsuit and couldn't talk. Day 89. The doorbell rang while I was making Tyler breakfast. Certified mail, my medical records from Quick Care, 147 pages that had been photocopied so many times, some parts were just black smudges. The pages were numbered 1, 2, 3, 47, 48, 12, 93, 14. No order that made sense. The consent forms I'd signed, missing. The operative notes about the actual procedure, 2 sentences. Mole removed, patient tolerated procedure well. James came over that night with Chinese takeout and his laptop. We spread the records across my kitchen table. Look at this. He pointed to the billing section. They charged for general anesthesia. They used local. Just lidocaine. Says here you had an anesthesiologist present. Dr. K. Williams, billed separately. There was no anesthesiologist. It was just Dr. Hoffman and a nurse. He kept reading. Operating room fee, $4,000. It was an exam room. There was a poster about hand washing on the wall. Laboratory fees for pathology, $1,200. They never sent it to pathology. Dr. Hoffman said he'd look at it himself. Surgical assistant, T. Johnson. $800. There was no assistant. I was writing everything down when Tyler knocked over his juice. Apple juice spread across the table, soaking into 30 pages of records. Mommy, I'm sorry. It's okay, baby. But it wasn't. The papers were ruined, the ink bleeding until you couldn't read anything. I'd have to request them again. Another $75, another 30 days minimum. That night, Angela texted from a different number. Stop texting me. Then immediately, but check out Sandra Williams v. MedManage 2018. The case came up on the court records site. Settlement reached, amount sealed, details sealed, everything sealed except one line. Plaintiff alleged negligent postoperative care resulting in permanent disability. I searched Dr. Hoffman's medical license next. Active, but buried in the history section. Hospital privileges voluntarily surrendered 2019. Voluntarily surrendered. That's what they call it when a hospital forces you out but lets you keep your license. The real reason would be protected by peer review privilege. Hidden forever. I stared at the screen. Every answer led to another locked door. Every document created more questions. My leg throbbed. The nerve damage was permanent now. Some days I couldn't feel my foot at all. Tyler crawled into my lap. Mommy, why are you sad? I'm not sad, baby. But I was. Exhausted and sad and angry and nowhere close to proving what they'd done to me. The next week dragged like months until Channel 7 finally called back. We have 5 patients willing to go on camera about Quick Care, I told the producer. The morning of the interview, my phone buzzed at 6 a.m. Sandra Williams, one of the 5. I can't do it. My husband says it's too risky. I'm sorry. Then another text at 6:45. Marcus, the man who'd lost part of his foot. My lawyer says talking to media could hurt my case. By the time the news van pulled up, we were down to 3. The reporter looked annoyed. I thought you said 5. 2 backed out this morning. She sighed. Let's make this quick. They interviewed me for 23 minutes, asked about the infection, the medical bills, the expired supplies. I showed them everything. Photos, documents, the drainage bag I still had. When the segment aired that night, I got 45 seconds, at the very end of the broadcast, after the weather and a story about a dog who could skateboard. Local woman claims surgical center gave her an infection, the anchor said. They showed me for maybe 5 seconds. Hair messy, bags under my eyes, papers scattered on my lap. I looked unhinged. Then Dr. Hoffman's lawyer filled the screen. Polished suit, calm voice. These are unsubstantiated claims from a disgruntled patient. Infections are a known risk of any medical procedure. The comments online started within minutes. She just wants money. Infections happen everywhere. This isn't news. Why is she attacking a small business? Probably didn't follow aftercare instructions. My phone rang the next morning. Davidson Design, my biggest remaining client. Cheryl, we saw the news segment. We think it's best if we pause our contract. Too much drama right now. You understand. Another $1,800 a month. Gone. Mom? Mia stood in my bedroom doorway after school. Her beautiful long hair was gone, chopped short and uneven. What did you do? I cut it myself. Her voice was flat. I hate everything. Oh, baby. They're calling you the crazy lady at school. They said you're suing the doctor because we need money. Jaden's mom told him not to hang out with me anymore. She ran to her room and slammed the door. That night, while Tyler slept, I checked the family computer. Mia's search history made my chest tight. What are antidepressants? Can 12-year-olds take antidepressants? Is depression genetic? How to not care what people think? 4 months after I'd filed my complaint, the state inspector finally showed up at Quick Care. I sat in my car across the street, watching through the windows. The inspector walked in at 9:15 a.m., walked out at 10:03, 45 minutes. That's all the time they spent investigating a place that nearly killed me. The report came a week later. Violations found and corrected. Autoclave maintenance overdue, now current. Some supplies past expiration date, removed. 2 staff certifications expired, renewed. Fine assessed, $5,000. Status, operational with follow-up inspection in 6 months. They were still open, still seeing patients. My phone rang from a blocked number that afternoon. It's Angela. Her voice was barely a whisper. I heard you're still fighting them. Angela, people are getting hurt. I can't testify. I have 2 kids. I need my job. Nobody will hire me if I break an NDA. But you know what they're doing. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. She was crying. I tried to report it when I worked there. They threatened to sue me for defamation, said they'd make sure I never worked in healthcare again. The line went dead. The Facebook support group was dying too. Started with 50 members. Now we had 12 who still posted. The others got tired, got scared, got lawyers who told them to stop talking publicly. Lauren, who'd organized the group, posted that night, "I'm done. 8 months of fighting and nothing's changed. I need to focus on healing and moving on." 3 more left after that. Patricia, the head nurse from Quick Care, was still working there. I knew because she told my neighbor I was unstable when she went in for a consultation. "That woman's been harassing us for months," Patricia had said. "Some people can't accept that infections happen." My neighbor called to warn me. "Maybe you should let this go, Cheryl. It's eating you alive." I sat on my couch that night, leg throbbing, bills piled on the coffee table, Mia refusing to talk to me, Tyler having nightmares every night, 9 people still in the support group, 5 months of fighting, nothing to show for it except debt and exhaustion. The system was working exactly as designed, to wear us down, to make us give up. Most nights I wanted to, but I couldn't stop now, not when I'd already lost everything else. I started taking the antidepressants my doctor prescribed after I broke down crying during a routine checkup. 20 milligrams of Lexapro every morning with coffee I couldn't afford. The credit cards were maxed, $18,000 across 3 cards. The bankruptcy lawyer wanted $1,500 up front just to file. I didn't have it. Physical therapy 3 times a week at $50 copay each session. Had to turn down 2 freelance contracts because the therapy appointments conflicted with client meetings. "Mom, can we order pizza?" Tyler asked Friday night. "We have food here." "We always have food here. We never go anywhere anymore," I snapped. "Because I'm trying to keep us from being homeless." "Is that okay with you?" His face crumpled. He was 6. None of this was his fault. The support group met at the library Tuesday night. 4 people showed up. Used to be 12. Sarah spoke first. She'd been fighting Quick Care longer than me. "I'm done." She looked defeated. "It's been 8 months. Nothing changes. They're still operating, still hurting people. I need to move on with my life." We sat in silence. She was right. My phone buzzed as we were leaving. "Cheryl, this is David Brennan from Brennan & Associates. I found something in the Quick Care files. Can you get to my office tomorrow?" I drove to David Brennan's office the next morning with Tyler in the back seat. "This better be worth the gas money," I muttered, checking my tank. Quarter full. David spread papers across his conference table. I found 11 patients willing to join a class action. Not the 23 we hoped for, but enough. What changed? Angela Morrison finally agreed to give us a written statement, not testimony. She won't appear in court, but she documented the cost-cutting measures. She told me she can't break her NDA publicly, but in discovery for a lawsuit, different story. He showed me Angela's statement, 3 pages describing expired supplies being used routinely. Staff told to delay referrals until the 48-hour reporting window passed. No actual recordings or emails, just her memory. Is that enough? Combined with this, he pulled out another stack. Medicare billing fraud. Every single mole removal bill is both cosmetic to private insurance and medical necessity to Medicare. Double dipping. That's illegal. Very. The FBI is interested in the fraud. Not the malpractice, but its leverage. 3 weeks later, Dr. Hoffman's lawyer called David. They're offering $1.4 million to settle, all 11 plaintiffs. That's, I tried to calculate. After my 40% fee, about $73,000 for you, $73,000. It sounded like so much and so little at the same time. What about criminal charges? He'll plead to a lesser charge. Medicare fraud becomes billing errors. 2 years probation. 500 hours community service. No jail. No jail? He almost killed me. It's that or go to trial. Could take 3 years. You might get nothing. I thought about Mia cutting her hair, Tyler's nightmares, the bills piling up. Take it. The check arrived 6 weeks later. $73,000. $31,000 went straight to medical bills. Paid them off completely, but nothing left over. The credit card still showed $8,000 in debt from groceries, gas, and keeping the lights on while I couldn't work. My leg was permanently damaged. 30% mobility loss according to the disability evaluation. Chronic pain that would never go away. Some days I couldn't feel my toes. Others, it felt like lightning shooting from hip to ankle. "Mom, can I get new shoes for track?" Mia asked one morning. "Track? I want to try out. The therapist says exercise helps with depression. Therapy. $240 a month not covered by insurance because it was out of network. But it was helping. She was talking to me again. Tyler still wouldn't go near doctors. Screamed during his required school physical. The nurse had to call me to calm him down. No vaccinations. I'd become one of those parents. I got a job at Target, 5 a.m. to 1 p.m., $15 an hour. Could barely stand by the end of each shift, but it had health insurance. Night classes at Riverside Community College started in January. Prerequisites for the LPN program, not RN. That would take too long. LPN was 18 months. Why are you going back to school? James asked, watching me struggle through anatomy homework. Someone needs to give a shit about patients. Angela texted me once. I'm sorry how it ended. They blacklisted me from every healthcare job in the county. Working at Walmart now. The other victims got their checks too. Sarah got $50,000. Marcus got $35,000. Some got nothing because they'd missed the filing deadline. Dr. Hoffman's medical license was suspended for 2 years, not revoked. In 2026, he could practice again under supervision. Quick Care Surgical Center closed for exactly 1 week. Reopened as Family Surgical Associates. Same building, same exam rooms, same equipment. Patricia was still the head nurse. I drove past it every Tuesday on my way to physical therapy. The parking lot was always full. How does that make you feel? My therapist asked. Tired. The local news did a follow-up story. 30 seconds. Medical malpractice lawsuit settled. Doctor receives probation. Comments online. Knew she just wanted money. $73,000 for an infection? Must be nice. Doctors make mistakes. Get over it. The support group disbanded. Everyone too tired to keep fighting. We'd won, technically, but it didn't feel like winning. My website about quick care got 47 views a month. Occasionally someone would email asking for advice. I'd tell them to document everything and find a lawyer who worked on contingency. Most never wrote back. One night, Tyler crawled into my bed. Mommy, is your leg better? It's getting better. Will it be all the way better? No, baby. But that's okay. I don't want you to die. I'm not going to die. Promise? I couldn't promise that. Nobody could. I promise I'll try really hard not to. He accepted that. 6 years old and already learning that sometimes trying is all we can promise. 1 year later, I sat in the nursing school orientation room, compression sock squeezing my bad leg. The woman next to me looked at my gray Target name badge still pinned to my shirt. Why nursing at our age? Someone needs to give a shit about patients. She laughed nervously and turned away. My alarm had gone off at 3:45 a.m. for my Target shift. Unloaded trucks until noon, drove straight here. My leg screamed every time the weather changed, and it had been raining all week. The instructor stood at the front reading names. Sarah Chen? Cheryl, I said quietly. She kept reading. I was too tired to correct her again. Mia was doing better, still anxious, still in therapy, but she'd made the track team, placed 3rd in the 800-meter last week. Tyler was in play therapy twice a week, still wouldn't get his shots. The pediatrician said we couldn't force him. Trauma response takes time. Small victories kept me going. Riverside General added a patient advocate position after our story made the rounds. Paid position, full-time, someone whose job was literally to listen when patients said something was wrong. The county health department promised quarterly inspections of surgical centers. No funding yet, but they promised. The medical board reduced complaint processing time from 6 months to 4. Still too long, but better. Our support group still met monthly at the library. 6 people usually showed up, sometimes 8. We'd talk for an hour, then go home to our damaged bodies and depleted bank accounts. The state legislature had my proposed bill under review. They'd been reviewing it for 7 months. No Cheryl's Law, just endless committees and delays. I checked my website stats on my phone. 427 views this month. 3 emails from victims asking for advice. I'd written back to all of them with the same template. Document everything, find a contingency lawyer, lower your expectations. Someone forwarded me a LinkedIn post last week. Dr. Hoffman was practicing in Nevada now. Excited to join Desert Springs Medical Group. Supervised practice, but still practicing. Still touching patients. My phone buzzed. Text from Mia. Mom, Tyler threw up at school. Nurse called. I grabbed my bag and stood up. My leg buckled slightly. Caught myself on the desk. Sorry, I told the instructor. Family emergency. If you leave, you can't make up this orientation. I'll be back tomorrow. She shook her head. Tomorrow's class is full. Then next week. That's a different cohort. You'd have to reapply. I looked at her. Really looked at her. Another gatekeeper in another system. I'll be back tomorrow, I said, limping toward the door. Full class or not? Outside the rain had stopped, but my leg knew more was coming. Always did. I drove to Tyler's school thinking about Patricia, still head nurse at Family Surgical Associates. Same building, same rooms where I almost died. 40 new patients every week who didn't know what happened there. The school secretary smiled when I walked in. Tyler's in the nurse's office, poor thing. Tyler was curled up on the vinyl bed, face pale. The nurse, young and kind, rubbed his back. Hey, baby, I said. My stomach hurts. I know, let's go home. He wrapped his arms around my neck. Still small enough to carry, but my leg couldn't handle the weight anymore. Can you walk, buddy? He nodded and took my hand. In the car, he asked, Are you mad you had to leave school? Never. You're more important than school. Will you still be a nurse? Yeah, it'll just take longer. Why do you want to be a nurse? I thought about Patricia telling patients their infections were normal, about Dr. Hoffman practicing in Nevada, about Angela working at Walmart, about my leg that would hurt forever. Because somebody has to care. He accepted that the way kids do. We drove past Family Surgical Associates on the way home. The parking lot was full. It always was. My leg throbbed. It always would. But tomorrow I'd go back to that orientation. Sit in the same chair. Correct them about my name. Stay this time. Someone had to give a shit. Might as well be me.